Thank you. Joy was born, raised, and educated in India. At an early age, Joy started to recognize his gifts, skills, and had intimate interest in spiritual studies and philosophies of all religions and life. He started to study various subjects ranging from palmistry, numerology, tarot, and the Vedic astrology. Joy has always been sensitive to other people's emotions and feelings, and Joy felt a strong inspiration towards developing his mediumistic skills as he discovered Cassadaga. Starting in 2003 as a student with Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Meeting Association, Joy honed his abilities with the guidance of teachers through years of classes and workshops, Cassadaga Spirituals Camp, and in other spirituals communities around the world. And currently, in addition to his day job, Joy Sagar is a medium, an intuitive reader, a spiritual healer, and a Vedic astrologer. And he enjoys public speaking, teaching, learning, and educating like-minded individuals. Thank you so much. Let's give a warm welcome to Joy.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Sandra, for that long introduction. And sometimes I just sit back and get amused, like, oh, shorten it, but it's wonderful. So how are we doing today? Wonderful, wonderful. I just wanted to say some of the pieces of conversation, as we will share, are familiar to me, but I am very confident there's a lot of fillers in between which I have no idea. So recognize that is there. So let's start by just having a little prompt here. How many of us would say we have come a long ways? You can raise your hand, and you can recognize for your own strength. Doesn't matter what is the minimum age, and the maximum age is just a number, but each and every one of us have come a long ways. And I want us to recognize that. Because sometimes we are good at minimizing our journey. And that has to be recognized, that no little task that has taken place in the pursuit of your own life. So that's just a basic prompt here. So I have to tell you a story. In the year 2014, there was a group of spiritualists that hopped in a car and took the turn going out and going someplace. The someplace was familiar to the two of them, and the third co-passenger had no clue what was going on. We were just going. And they were on the road, just taking turns and enjoying. And the backdrop was Buffalo, New York. So lots of windy roads, beautiful green trees, wildlife, noises. The day was grand, and these people were exploring. And soon, and 20 minutes later, came about a point in conversation, where are we going? Because inevitably, the driver forgot the turn, and we were on a total different track. Absolutely unaware of where that was going. No clue. And one of the passengers had really no clue because they were not familiar with the environment. The others were. So we kept going, and I'm saying we because I was part of that unfamiliar passenger in that car. And I was like, well, it's gonna be whatever. So I was just quiet because I couldn't contribute, go left or right. I had no clue. So the other two just went on him hawing, take this turn. And we came to this beautiful intersection, a little small town on somewhere at the cross point of a railroad track, old railroad track. And theirs had a beautiful restaurant there. So we went in. We discovered this a very historical point. This railroad depot was a functional railroad at some time. The food offering was very authentic German food offering. So we had a grand time just enjoying the decor and conversation. As we stepped back into the car, we still were not sure how to get back to where we started from. So we went on a little while. We once again started in the wrong direction, and we were saying, no, this is not, we think is the place to be. So this little voice in me says, oh, we are starting to create a natural law of exploration. And I blurted that out. And the point that is that phrase got etched in stone in my memory and their memory. So we still meet every once in a while and we get a little kick out of it, think we're exploring something, because I'm very notorious to lose sight of where I'm going. I did not grow with north, east, south direction. I just know make a left turn, right turn, 2 streets over, there's the place you have to be. That's how I grew up. So while the sun is up, I can make sense that's where the east is, where the sun is heading for. But at the night time, if the moon is not shining, I'm still lost. And GPS has become my best friend. But the prompt of saying is we have come a long ways. Sometimes we had no clue where we were heading for. But the strength, that little small strength in us, nudged us to keep moving forward. And that's the part of the journey. A lot of historic modern spiritualist stories and the prominent personality within our religion has shown that little small strength one must keep, even though we do not know where our directional space is. But to be able to move from one point to the other in our lives, we need that hidden knowing we're making progress. Right? So that part of that exploration has always been such a thing. And it always will be, because even though we've come so far, we really do not know where we're heading for. We have an idea, a desire, a goal, a dream that says this is I would like to be. But at a spur of a moment, that is like, oh, the GPS didn't function properly. Now we're a block over to where we needed to be. Has anybody experienced that in the electronics? My Google map went off, so this is not discrediting Google, but it went off and I had no really idea where I was. I was in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, well, this is going to be interesting. So I had Apple Maps, so I revert to my second directional compass. I still didn't rely on my own compass. I have very poor sense of directional judgment. But what about you? Is there any part of your life you thought was going fine, but it was really taking you off course or giving you a little detour, and you were like, what's going on? And I don't feel connected with where I am. So you recognize how life can really get attention from you through just saying is, where are the disconnects? So the song that we just tried to sing, it is one of my personal favorites. There are a few others, but if you understand the song, none of that stories applies to me. I was born and raised in a city in concrete. I had no idea, but I have been to a lot of states traveling through the road. I like to be on the road, but that is my sense of exploration. I just like to be in the car rather than flying. If I can avoid flying, I would drive. But what about you? What are your options and choices? Are you want to take flight, or are you okay in putzing along, sightseeing along the way? Each way, you are putting mileage in your life's journey. And I feel neither way is right or wrong. Whatever works for you is there. So, in the story of spiritualism, the discovery and these laws of exploration is what has made mediumship, psychic abilities, healing, and multiple other modalities under the umbrella of metaphysics to take flight. Because this exploration is what next? What more can I do? So if you are in pursuit of self-discovery, my only inspiration to you is to not define this is it. Because this is it means you have declared yourself to be a byproduct of something, and sometimes the products have a shelf life. So if you say, oh, what is next for me to explore? What is my next skill set? Or what are my next abilities? Guess what? It stokes your journey. It fuels the fire. And you would understand there are a lot of stories, beautiful parables that will take you there in the most darnest and most complex, difficult, life-challenging situations. People have risen above their circumstances only to shine their light. We all have that within us. So these country roads, over the time of listening to that song, has become my inspiration to take the journey inwardly rather than outwardly. I have to sit and take that track that leads me to me. And that part encourages my self-responsibility towards myself and my ability to see somebody else's journey from their own perspective. So what I'm doing may not be the thing for you to do, but what you are doing may not be the thing for somebody else to do. And some part of this exploration happens all the time. Why are not things feeling cohesive or together, or why we are not connecting with each other? Perhaps the failure to understand somebody may have a different vantage point of their own perspective, which needs respect. And you have to understand that, because otherwise it becomes coercive. And if I ask each and everyone to raise their hand, you would understand what coercive feels. So part of that gentleness, taking the road inward, is to only to see what my journey is, where I have been, where I have gone, and where I have the potential to go forward. So I challenge you, while I challenge myself, to take that journey. Some of us will feel like we are good human beings, we are good parents, we are good providers, we are good support structure in our workforce, etc. It could mean a lot of things, not just everything that pertains to the heightened sense of spirituality. But then again, everything is all interconnected. My purpose of being here in these shoes would not be as effective if each and every one of you were doing something else. You understand the point? And a part of that connection is all you're going to take. You're going to take your own conversations inside your head and mind that is stimulated by these words. And you will continue to explore that. So, are you still fighting a fight? How many of us think we are fighting a fight? It's an ongoing thing. It continues. Tomorrow is going to be a whole different subset of discernment of life than it is today. But that part of aha is, I'm still present, I'm still doing my thing. So the encouragement to be present within yourself, regardless of environmental circumstances, your home circumstances, your personal circumstances, be present with yourself. Our friend in the Lyceum, were you in the Lyceum, sir? Okay, you look alike. There was a gentleman in the Lyceum was commenting about that when we get inspiration in between spaces. Right. You were there, right? Yeah, perfect. I recognize him then. Perfect. My mind is fine. My mind is with me. Exploration. See, I just explored. Okay. He pointed out, based on the speaker's conversation, sometimes we get inspiration in between spaces. It's not always happening in connection to something. And that was a beautiful thing from hearing from a total stranger, because I have no clue who he is. But at the same time, my journey is the more I am blank, or more I'm giving space between one thought to the other, one desire to the next, I have a better opportunity to understand what may be possible. And I have observed many, many years just there. So my country roads yesterday were right at my home. And the day before that, they were right at my home again. And the day before that, my country roads were right where I wanted to be. What about yourself? If you were to take a synopsis of your last month, were you at the place that you belonged each and every day of that time period? Make an assessment that will help you understand your sense, need, want, desire of a place of belonging. And we all operate through the laws of choices, and every choice comes with a consequence. Every consequence connects with the laws of cause and effect, and so on and so forth. So everything bounces within each other without separating, without discriminating, without identifying anything more or less. It is just how it is. So ask yourself, in this journey where I am today, what are the things that I really hold light to, or what are the lights that I'm drawn to, and work with that. It doesn't have to be good or bad, right or wrong, this or that or anything. It's just a sense of connection and belonging. Where is that? And if you feel that fleeting moment that says, I no longer connect with something that has been sitting with me for some time, take a step in that direction in sorting out what that means. It's never an easy answer. It's never a little simplified version of understanding. But through your own natural yearning of exploring that thought, that intent, will take you someplace. So there's such a thing called, if you want to be right, you can be, but you will find soon that you're the only one left. You see the cynicism in that statement? So sometimes, if you feel you're left out, it still is right. And that's all it is. The way you see things, that's how it is. So what are you going to do today? It's almost 6 more months to this year. What challenge are you up for? Because life can be whatever it wants to be. We don't have a choice. None of us have any choice. If you think about free will and free choice, nobody has a choice. And could it be because you have bills to pay? You have no choice. You have things to be responsible for? You have no choice. So this exciting, whimsical way of saying is, do you really have a choice? Takes you back to the loop of saying, do we have a free will? Or where is that being controlled and managed? It's a big loop of quandary, and that's what life is all about. I can never have a dull moment because my mind sometimes can run in loops like this. Just what's going on? What is mine here? What do I have to sort out? And I'm giving you, so if you ever felt like I'm bored, I have nothing to do, get inside of yourself. You'll have a never-ending sense of excitement, and it's going to go on and on and on and on and on. And next day you'll find out you're still on and on and on. One word that pertains to that, if you feel a sense of regret, that's a loop in its own self. And regret will keep you down as best as you want to escape it. If you're in that loop of regret, it's going to keep you where you are. It's going to deteriorate your sense of self. The only way to get out of that loop of regret is to explore what it's trying to tell you, or find out what is my choice, what are my options. Because if the infinite is infinite, guess what? You have infinite number of choices. Not one works all the time. And if you've already explored and it's ineffective, then you move on to the next choice. But the power is within us. We have to do something about it. So if your life, in some aspect of it, is a bag full of regrets, you can tie a big knot and leave the whole bag somewhere. Or take one regret like a candy and just enjoy it. But enjoy from the perspective like, oh, it's not tasting good, but oh, how can I alter my outcome going on forward? It's a choice. It's a simple thing. At some point, it's choice where we also recognize there is no such thing as choice. Because breaking our personalities or breaking that loop of our personality is a choice in its own self. So, how many of us in this room would like to go take a choice of unbecoming who you are? That says, I'm inviting change in my life. I'm going to unbecome everything that I don't feel I align with at this time. You see my point? You have a perspective to take. You have that space to influence and inspire yourself. So I really want to see if some of you would come back at some other point and share your stories, because this is a journey. It's a journey of a kind that will allow you to see your own strength. If you believe in something, if you believe for a certain way of understanding, align yourself with it. By doing that, there's more to explore. It's not saying that's it. That exploration perpetually goes on. I will bring up another teachings that I got exposed somewhere a good part of my life, but more effectively since 2013 or so. And what speaks to me on a regular basis is the agreements. Sometimes the agreements are verbal, and sometimes the agreements are non-verbal. When something is done over more than 3, 4, 5 times without any spoken consent or agreement, you have given those situations your consent to be the same way. So if you want me to treat you kindly, and if I choose to do so, I perhaps will treat you kindly for the rest of it because it has formed an agreement. I want you to examine your own agreements in your personal life, because inevitably, sometimes to keep the peace, we create nonverbal agreements. We're going to act this way, we're going to stay this way, we're going to work with this way because it doesn't create ripples, we don't disturb the peace within that sanctuary. So when things happen to you and you don't have a place to be or justify, then the dialogue is, you never had a problem before. Now what's going on? But that's an exploration in its own self. So these agreements also can be called boundaries in today's term, but at the same time, these agreements have to be verbal. Oh, you want me to participate this way? Let's talk about it, make an agreement, and then go forward that way. That is that. But the exploration within my journey of understanding these agreements have also been when a relationship within two individuals or two subsets of agreements are changing, that doesn't mean that termination of those agreements mean everything is a wash. It is also saying is there's an opportunity to explore, to create new agreements and recreating what could work better from this point forward rather than trying to repair everything that sits in the past. Anybody has been able to repair the past? If you think so, I want you to explore that again. Past stays the way it is. That's just what the nature of it is. You can make terms with it and explore that thought process, but the past is. And this is just how it is. It seldom changes. Nothing changes. Change is constant, but change itself is not changing. Part of that exploration between agreements is what agreements we have made with our own spirit, our own soul, as the most primary and most important agreement. If you are on somebody else's agreement, then you will not sit at peace with yourself. So finding those little small things through your own self-exploration is a powerhouse in your bag of possibilities, your bag of power, your spiritual toolkit, and et cetera, however you name it. So before you disagree, go within, take that road home, and explore what that means to you. Perhaps the dialogue thereafter externally would absolutely be different. So part of that exploration is an ongoing thing. So what are we wanting to explore? No answers needed, but please take the question along with yourself. I will come back to the part and the platform of spiritualism. I will say this, I always had the gift, as my resume states, etc., but my gifts really did not step forward till I was almost 30 years old. And all that was where our last two attendees are sitting in the back pew. I was sitting right in that spot, only wondering, the medium up on the podium, oh, this feels so natural. I have some abilities I can explore like that. And that was my starting point, and I was almost 30 years old. I sat there. And then I sat there in this church for many years and still do on occasion, just to align myself as my heart in the right place, as my intent is still there. But that exploration from that seat to this stage, or my stage of life, has been nothing but exceptional, because I had no clue what I was able to do. I still don't have a clue. And that was an alternative topic for this conversation. Do you have a clue? I still don't have a clue. Because my sense of exploration is, I have a voice in my head that says go left or right, and I'm going. But anyhow, the part of inspiration is for you to understand, if you have gifts, you have abilities, you have healing, you have grief, what is it about that it wants you to explore more about yourself? Take a small prompt. It's almost like one of those little slips you pull out on a thumbtack card. Need help? Call this number. It's almost like, give yourself a permission. I'll work on this thing for myself. And then you just go on there. So your innate spirit will help you find your way. That is your beacon, that is your compass, that is your way to align with your spirit, and be honest to it. There will be collateral gain and collateral damage. Be cognizant of it and be prepared for it, because not everybody will be aligned to that journey that you will take on. Be okay with it, but be authentically you and be honest and sincere in your own explorations. With that being said, thank you for listening.